Now we've actually touched on what modules are in a document, but let's go ahead and actually put some in practice. Now again, modules is something that's already pre-created and we can import it into our programming code, and this allows us to not only reuse it more and more, but more importantly, modules can be very powerful in saving us multiple time because it's already done for us. And why should we recreate the wheel? Unless, of course, we can make the wheel better. So in the document, we commented on the random module. Now, the random module is very interesting. The random module has basically two variables that's within. It gives it a range of sequence. So if we were to look at, let's go ahead and create the number variable, and then we're going to say random dot randint, which means basically I'm importing the module random. Now keep in mind the module has a lot of things within it, but specifically if I were to use these as my two values, I'm saying give me a random integer value between 10 and 30. Now this would also include 10 and 30 numeric value, and I want to display what that randomness is, so I would still have to put in to print out the variable number. Now if I was to save this, let's just call it random. If I was to save this and print it, what it will do is import or pull in that random module for me, and then it would create a variable called number, and more importantly, it would just randomly pick a number of 10 through 30. So let's go ahead and run it and see what we see on our first run. So our first run, it says the random number is 20. I can continue to do this all day long, and it will rerun and give me yet another output, another random output, 28. And it'll continue on and on and on. Now what use would this be? Well, one, we're going to actually use this module in your first exercise that I'm going to give you, which is creating a random type of game. So you could use the module random and create any type of random numbers on that. So again, here's the import random, a variable that we created called number. It could be anything. We could even call this just an int if we wanted to, as long as we go ahead and print out that same variable name, and it'll still run because it doesn't care as long as you go by Python rules. And we can also change this as well to an even bigger number if we wanted to, and save and rerun it, and it'll give us a larger number of either the first or second number that we give it, anything in between. Let's go ahead and expand it out a little bit more. Remember, we can also add in strings, and now we also know how to change an integer type to a string type, allowing it to print out or display. Let's say the current number is, and we're going to concatenate or put it together along with the variable. Before I can run this, I'm going to have to change this to a string. So let's go ahead and do that. Str in. So basically now it's going to first give me a random number as an integer, and then it's going to change that integer into a string, and then it's going to provide or produce that value. Let's go ahead and run it. Here it is. The current number is 297. And just as before, we can run it over and over again. Makes sense? I hope so. And it's fun to do, actually. We could even, let's do one more. Let's go ahead and we'll create